If you are, of course, a guest on the call, I want to say welcome, 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 and thank you for taking your time on joining us this wonderful, of course, Sunday morning here in Toronto. And so, right away, I just want to share that I'm so happy that I have been able to build this incredible lifestyle that I have today. That's been 13 years in the making, 13 years. And I know that some of you may have heard a lot about, I guess, my sort of successes I've had, of course, as of recent. But sometimes, of course, I think it's important to share sort of where we came from, what sort of got me here, and just sort of where I started 13 years ago, because perhaps my story might relate to someone that you know, it might relate to you. And I do hope that by the end of today's call, that I was able to, in some sort of shape or form, inspire you to want to do more with this business. Because when you kind of see what's inside my head and you see what I see in this company, you will realize there's so much to achieve here. Even though we're a 13-year-old company, even though we have, over 130 countries open, Fountain of Life just got launched again 3 years ago. We haven't actually hit the tip of the iceberg. So truly and really, we haven't even tapped the surface of what's going to be happening in this company. And I think over the next 30, 40 years is where, you're going to see massive, massive growth. But again, just so again, really, I wanted to say thank you so much for everyone for being here. I hope you have your coffee, tea, water, juice, or of course, cocktail. Here's my cocktail. It's a coffee cocktail. It's just coffee actually, but enjoy your coffee. And again, hello Ronan, I see his cup there too. Enjoy your coffees as well and whatever you're drinking. So, one thing that I want to share with you guys is, I wasn't born into wealth. In fact, my parents, my dad was from Malaysia, my mom was from Cambodia, and my dad had come to Toronto to study in university really early on. So my dad has about 13 siblings in Malaysia. It's quite a big family. And one thing about my dad, the one story, I think we always sort of recall stories. I think we sort of live on stories. We remember stories. And the one story that I always remember about my dad was because he's such a big family, and his dad used to have this little farm that would actually gather a lot of the sap from the trees. And so, anyways, it was a tough business. The kids had to help out. And back then, you had as many kids as possible to make sure that you could run the farm essentially, right? And it wasn't safe. You had snakes, hiding in the trees and the bushes. You had these weird spiders, everything. But during dinner time, because he was sort of in the middle of the 13 siblings, almost one of the younger ones, it was always like a battle to for your food. And so it's one of those kind of families where rice gets put down, all the older kids, they're grabbing at the rice first and all the different dishes, then you're lucky to get some scraps, right? And so when he came to Toronto, I think when he was finally able to build himself, went to university, started working as a mainframe programmer, so also in IT. One thing that he really didn't do too well was take care of his health. Anytime he had a meal in front of him, or if my mom cooked extra food on the table, you know what happens, right? He has to finish everything because he didn't have that privilege before. Now he has that privilege of, just a family of four, and so me, my sister, mom, and dad, the four of us. He would try to finish everything, and so of course, over many years, his health started to got overweight, a lot of issues. And on my mom's side, so it's really shocking. I didn't even know this until much later on. But it actually was one of the core reasons that got me really inspired to want to do more for myself. Because back then, as Rico mentioned, I studied at the University of Toronto, graduated in computer science, software engineering, and had worked for IBM. I think everyone has heard of IBM. It's a big company worldwide, for about almost 2 years. And eventually switched that job to TELUS, which is one of Canada's largest telecom companies. They're top three essentially, Rogers, Bell, and TELUS. And basically, I was there for about 5 years. But when I found out that my mom's dad in Cambodia, according to her, so again, don't quote me on this. I'm just quoting my mom, and I don't know how accurate she remembers things back in her childhood. But apparently, my grandfather was one of the most wealthiest people in Indonesia. However, when the Khmer Rouge came and the revolution came, everyone lost everything. And of course, I asked my mom, can we go back and, show your family heritage and get the house back? It's like a 13-bedroom, white, huge mansion in Cambodia. And of course, when the governments change, nothing that you have on paper belongs to you anymore, right? So I think knowing that, and if you knew my upbringing in like as a kid, my parents were savers. Like they would save every possible dime, So we always cooked at home. We almost never went to a restaurant. And the one time we go to a restaurant, it's called Swiss Chalet. If you're in Toronto, Swiss Chalet is kind of like a regular, I'd say, how those restaurants have like a price rating of like 1 to 5, where 5 is like, ultra expensive, 1 is like really cheap, 1's like your, food court kind of price, right? I'd say Swiss Chalet was like a 2, like a 2 out of 5. But for us, that was like, the most expensive kind of, restaurant we'd go to. And, I couldn't even order what I wanted. It had to be like the 2 chicken leg dinner, couldn't order the soup or the or the dessert. So everything in my childhood was oftentimes save, save, save. I didn't even wear one piece of brand name clothing my whole life. It wasn't until I met my wife Heidi, and at that point in time, my biggest brand name I think was like Puma. And so when she first met me, and she always jokes about this. She looked at my clothes that I was wearing, and thankfully, like she loved me for me. Of course, that's why we're together. But she always joked about, how the biggest brand I wore back then was Puma. Of course, when she bought me my first, Lacoste, polo shirt, I was like, this is really expensive. And of course, I didn't realize that there's even more expensive brand names out there. But so I think just growing up like that, always being very tight on money. And but the funny thing is this though, how if you're in the moment, all you know is what's around you. Like you don't have this bird's eye view of your life compared to other people. So to me, I had believed because on my street, and so I grew up in Scarborough. So if you're in Toronto, Scarborough, Victoria Park, and Eglinton, basically Sunrise Avenue, that's where I grew up, and it's one of those areas where they had a lot of, I guess, government buildings. So a lot of people that were either on drugs or they were, on welfare checks. They had a special housing just across the street from me. So, it wasn't always the safest neighborhood, quite often. The convenience store literally across my street, I could hear gunshots, you know what I mean? And, so, I was always very cautious, like even walking home at nighttime, in high school. But anyways, so to me, even despite that, the funny thing is on my street, there's really kind of like small houses. But my dad, because he had a decent job, he actually had upgraded our house to a slightly bigger size. So he added like a garage and a few rooms, right? So to me, I thought that we were actually pretty rich. So the funny thing is, I thought we were actually wealthy compared to the other people, across the street in the community housing. I thought we had it pretty good. And so so growing up, I had thought that if I did what my parents did, had a job, was in IT, got a good education, and worked for some large companies, I thought I would have a good life. I thought I was wealthy, basically. I thought I was wealthy. And everything changed, partly when, of course, you heard about my mom's dad, and that made me realize, my goodness, like that's a whole another level of wealth that is sort of in my family. It's not me, but it's like my grandfather. Um, and just to add more to my story, when I went to university, found at U of T, I was really blessed to get in because my high school, it wasn't the best high school. If you know Senator O'Connor, a lot of people selling drugs. I'd go walk to buy pizza, and this guy would be like, "Hey, Rene, you want to see my knife?" Like, "Why do I want to see your knife?" He's like, "It's really cool." I'm like, "Okay, well, sure, show me your knife." He says, he says, "But if I take out my knife, I have to stab someone." I'm like, "But why is that?" He's like, "That's just the rule." So it's like crazy stuff I was going through in high school. But when I look back, it's like it's crazy, right? But again, I thought it was the normal stuff. I had friends of mine who unfortunately they got pregnant at the age of 16 that would come and want to borrow money from me to pay for an abortion, and I didn't have money to give them either, right? So So finally got to university. I kind of get my head on straight. And in university, I always remember, for me to get to university, I had to walk to the bus stop, call it 5 minutes, take one bus to the station. That was like 15 minutes. Then it was like another train ride from Vic Park Station all the way to like basically where U of T is downtown. That's like a 40-minute a transit. So altogether, every day for me to get to university was basically an hour, back and forth. And God forbid, if you get halfway and you realize you left a textbook at home, right? That's like the worst. You gotta go back home and get it and go back again, right? Or if you're late for an exam. But at university, the thing that I kept seeing around me was, okay, here's Rene, just whatever normal clothing. And oftentimes I had to pack lunch, and I was so cheap, I guess, to the point where my parents would buy those those 3-in-1 powder mixes for coffee or like tea, and I would bring like an actual like a mug with a lid, and I would go to the cafeteria or we can buy lunch, and I wouldn't even buy coffee. I didn't have money. I would pour the 3-in-1 into my own mug and get free hot water and make my own drinks that way. So I always tried to save every dime, and I had to work from the age of 16. My first job, I had to go into, if you guys know of, what do you call it? It's now called Metro. So in Toronto, if you know Metro, before Metro, it was called, I think it was called Dominion or something like that. So I walked, it's actually a grocery store. So my first job I ever had, I literally walked into the grocery store and I basically said, can I talk to the manager? I said, manager, I'm Rene, I'm trying to save money for my future university. I really need a job. I'll work for free if I have to. Can you please hire me? You like my spirit, And that's when I kind of realized sometimes it's how you talk to people and that you approach someone and that's, I think that's like my first taste of like sales, because you're kind of selling yourself, right? When you're applying for a job, you're kind of selling yourself a little bit. And that was my first sort of ever experience having that kind of success. But anyways, I worked all throughout my university days. And because of that, I was working 15, 20 hours part-time. I didn't have much time to always study. So my grades weren't always the best. And but at university, I always saw, here's me taking hour transit, and of course there was a lot of pretty ladies, at university, and I was at that age. I was kind of like a late bloomer, I think. I wasn't really into the whole dating scene in high school. Maybe I was just so laser focused on studying. And in university, I guess, hormones change, and I, of course, had wanted to find a girlfriend. But I always see all these pretty girls, in these fancy Mercedes Benz, BMW, and these are kids my age, right? Kids my age, driving to university, music's pumping, windows down, they got a, hot girlfriend in the passenger seat, and it's not that I was jealous or, because I know that most likely, it's parents' money, right? But I was envious. And I think the difference between jealousy and being envy is, to me, envious is more like you want to have what they have, whereas jealous is more, it sounds more negative. It's almost like you're kind of, upset with them. So to me, I was more just envious, and to want to have more. So all throughout university, seeing that kind of wealth, from kids literally 19, 20 years old, again, driving these fancy cars, So eventually I had my Corolla, because in my third year, I started working, had more money, bought a Corolla, and so I did drive sometimes, but so all my childhood was always seeing other people have money, basically. But what really, really flipped the switch was one year my dad's grandfather in Malaysia wasn't doing too well. And so my dad booked us all a flight to go back to basically Malaysia and see his dad. And so, when I was in Malaysia, so again, don't forget, I had already thought that my life was pretty good and that, again, on the street that I lived in, we had the bigger house, right? So it was actually still small compared to many other houses in Toronto, but I thought it was big. And so anyways, in Malaysia, we met one of my uncles and we got to his house because we're staying at his house. And literally we pull up to a mansion, like a humongous, ginormous, enormous house. It was a mansion. They had so many bedrooms. He had 7 cars. Now, if you know Malaysia and Asian countries, the import VAT and taxes on like a luxury car like a Mercedes or a BMW or a Lexus is triple. So back then, if you know the Lexus SC430, the old Lexus sort of convertible two-door car, that car itself is like over $100,000 in Canada, right? To buy it in Malaysia, it's $300,000. It's 3 times the cost. And he had that. That was my dream car back then, and he was driving that dream car. I was like, whoa. And eventually, he even bought the mansion beside his and built a pathway between the two mansions. But yeah, when that happened, and I saw a younger brother of my dad, it's basically my uncle, all in the family, living this lifestyle, it really made me see wealth. But I think beyond seeing wealth, it made me realize that, maybe I had made up some excuses in my head as to why I didn't deserve that kind of a lifestyle. Maybe I thought you had to be lucky to be born into the right family. Maybe I thought you had to be super smart, high IQ, and know things that other people don't know to become a multimillionaire. I don't know what I was thinking. I just had excuses. Maybe I thought people had won the lottery and became wealthy that way. Or maybe you married rich. I don't know. But when I saw my own uncle, which is like bloodline, right? My dad's brother, that wealthy. In fact, it wasn't even him, not just him. My other aunt in Malaysia, if you go to Malaysia and you do this special boat tour to see the special monkeys. So in Malaysia, they're famous for these monkeys. It's like one monkey has like 300 wives kind of thing. And you can tell the male monkey, the male monkey has this really red thingy. Anyways, that whole that whole excursion, my aunt owns it, and she's also really wealthy. So long story short, and the seafood that you eat, and I love seafood, right? I mean, the food that you eat in Malaysia, all this stuff, when I came back from Malaysia, I was more confused than ever. Yeah, I thought I had my life going well, everything, and all my ducks were in a row. But I came back actually so confused. I was like, why is this? Or why is my dad, you know, doing okay? But again, we're still saving, we're still struggling. We can't go and splurge. We can't have a fancy car. My dad's most biggest car at that point in time was a Toyota Camry, right? And I was like, why is my dad like this? But my uncle had a whole different kind of lifestyle. So and he was actually, I think that one trip was the main thing that got me thinking differently. So fast forward a few years, finished university, and my sister, who also studied in computer science at U of T, also I mean, she basically studied what I studied, but she had all straight A's. Like she's a really good studier. And one time she went on her honeymoon with her of course her husband now, but came back and she read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And when she came back, she said, Rene, you have to read this book. Now, if you know me, at this point in time, I hated reading books. Like I've done through enough university books. Like, I was already working a full-time job at IBM, but I hated reading books. But I still read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And wow, like that, I think if you ever read that book, raise your hand, because, I think that book has changed so many people's lives, right? But that book, it flipped a switch, a massive switch. And I realized, and my goal after reading that book was I need to build residual income. Like I need to find and build residual income. And if you don't know what residual income is, it's money that comes in every week or every month without you having to work for it. The most traditional, I guess, example of residual income is you can go and buy a house, like a condo or a house, and let's say your mortgage payment is 1,000, but you rent it out for 1,300. So now you have a net income of 300, right? And every month you keep collecting a bonus $300 because your rent covered the mortgage, right? And so we initially wanted to get into real estate, but what's the biggest issue of trying to get into real estate? What's the one thing that you need to get real estate? Type your answer in. What do you need to buy a lot of properties? You need money. You need lots of this, right? You need lots of money typically, right, to buy a house. Um, and so we didn't have that. I mean, I think collectively, me and my sister, we had put together money in to buy, a few properties, but we ran out. So what we did was we started to do joint ventures. So we would look for properties, find an investor to buy the property, and then we would split the profits. So we basically got it's called Rich Dad Poor Dad, by the way. So we had bought about 32 properties over the years collectively between me and the partners. But again, the name of the game of me and my sister's goal was to build residual income. And we were calculating like how many properties do we need? And our target was this. Each person, me, my sister, and her husband, the three of us running this real estate company, our goal was for each of us to have 5,000 a month residuals. Because if you can have 5,000 a month residual income, which is like net income, residual net income, you're making profit 5,000 every single month. Is that enough for you to quit your job? Yes, right? I mean, at Telus, I was making 80,000 a year, which works down to about 7,000 ish plus per month. But you pay taxes, right? So after taxes, you're getting less than five. So our goal was if I can make 5,000 a month residual income, that was our goal. And doing the math, we had to buy like 200, 300 investment properties at that rate. So I knew it wouldn't happen in the next 5 years because real estate, if you don't buy it soon, someone else is going to buy it, the prices go up, right? So I knew it was impossible. But that's when network marketing came into the picture. And to backtrack a little bit, in university, I had already been presented a company called USANA. Have you ever heard of USANA? It's like a pretty old company in direct selling. They sell a lot of health and wellness. And that was another example of residual income. But again, I didn't reach Rich Dad Poor Dad at that point in time in university. I just joined because my sister had joined. And I thought, okay, well, let's give it a try, right? Of course, I was in university. I didn't do much. So I had joined, and probably like many of you, I quit, right? Because you're not taking it seriously, you're not building it, and I knew I wasn't building it. I didn't blame anyone else. I just quit. After she read that book, and after I read it, we actually decided to, while we're doing the real estate, we thought, why not go back into USANA again? My sister got invited to their convention, like their big conference in USANA, went to the convention, and she came back a whole new person. Like, if you know my sister, and some of you do, she's like really proper, walk straight, talk straight, doesn't swear, very articulates, enunciates every word perfectly, book, perfect book person, you know what I mean? And not really emotional, but when she came back from the convention, she was so pumped up and hyped. I thought, okay, this is different. So, anyways, we decided to go and give it 2 years. We're going to work hard 2 to 5 years in USANA and see where it gets us. And so I had brought in about 30 people into USANA, and we went. Like, I mean, you have to know, right? USANA's training here in Toronto was every Sunday morning at like 8 a.m. I was like, who does a training at Sunday 8 a.m. and I had to wake up at 7 to go and drive to Mississauga, like 400 and Highway 7, whatever, to attend the training. And I was always partying on Saturday night. So sometimes I sleep like 5 hours and be at this training. But I did it because I was committed. The one thing about me is when at that point in time, when I decide to do something, I don't go like quarter way in. I don't go 20% in. I don't go 40% in. I go like 100% in. So I was committed. Um, Built about 30 people. And however, what I also do though is I set a goal. And what was my goal again? The goal was to make how much per month? It was to make 5,000 residual income per month. After a year, 2 years, we started to look back. Okay, well, so how is the business going? We always looked at, okay, so based upon what we've done so far, And so we had maybe like 40, 50 people in the team. But the funny thing is, about, I say, okay, call it about 100 people after the first year or so. And we looked at the 100 people in our organization, and it was like 85 people had stopped. So I was like, okay, so we have a 15% retention rate, right? So I was like, okay, so based upon the next 100 and 15 stay, and the original 15, let's say 5 more leave, I was trying to calculate. I was like, this is going to be impossible. Like at this rate, based upon how much you make per person, I was like, we actually reverse engineered everything. I was like, this is going to take us forever to do, right? Um, but you know what? I have to say though, if you're a guest on the call, or if you're already in this business and you're wondering about network marketing, when you truly understand network marketing, it is the best business option for everyone who is starting off. Because again, I had a full-time job. I tell us, I was working 9 to 6, 9 to 7. We all know that to get wealthy, you have to have a business, right? I think we can all agree to that. If you have a job forever, you're just getting by. You're just over broke. You're just getting by, and you have to work to 65 plus. I didn't want that. I didn't want to have to work my whole life. I wanted to be able to, at my age of 20, I wanted to retire before the age of 30. That was my goal. I didn't know how it's going to happen, but that was my goal. Um, and so when I was looking at what I could do, I already had the real estate business, but I knew that wasn't going to get me there. And so network marketing was the only option. Like number one, I didn't have the money to go and start another business. Like I think back then, if you want to start a traditional business, you had to have what again? You had to have money, right? Open a store, do renovations, buy equipment. It's not possible for the average person, right? So whenever you hear someone down talking or talking bad about network marketing or MLM, ask them a question. Say, do you have a better idea for me? You know, like I would approach some friends before about the business. They're like, Rene, is it all those things, you know? And my question is, no, like this is like legit. There's actual product. We get paid when products are sold. It's a, network marketing is a method of distribution. But if they ever talk anything about network marketing, I say, well, do you have a better way of getting wealthy while having your full-time job? Do you have, if you do, tell me and let's look at it. Let's see which one is more feasible, right? So, anyways, just wanted to put that in there really quickly because I believe sometimes, we might get this kind of comment sometimes from people. I remember someone once asked me before I had made my first million. They said, because we're always catching up, and when someone kind of makes this kind of remark, almost kind of like condescending tone, hey Rene, have you made your million yet? The people that kind of they try to spite you and they ask those kind of questions, Rene, have you made your million yet? My response is, I'm working on it. I'm getting there. How about you? How about you? And it always, so I like to ask people, put them on the spot, right? How about you? Do you have a better idea for me? So anyways, I just want to mention that, to me, network marketing, despite my education, despite my income, is the only thing I could think of that I could do part-time on the side, or even during work to build a possible residual income of 5,000 per month. So anyways, in USANA, I knew it wasn't a choice. What happened was we eventually came across another company called Pro Travel Network, PTN. It's a travel-based MLM company. So at that point in time, I didn't really want to keep doing USANA. And the reason why was because, not because of products. Like I saw someone mention in the comments, I think it was Dion, and she's right. Only in network marketing do you find the most best health products on the planet. Because think logically, right? Our CEO, Ramin, he could have put Fountain of Life, or let's say you were the creator of Fountain of Life, right? Would you market it through a nutrition store where it's just one bottle on the shelf of hundreds and thousands of other products on the shelf where they might even see it, where you might do some advertising on a billboard, but people don't know what it is. Some products actually work better to be sold in network marketing versus traditional business. If I was the owner and creator of FOL, I wouldn't even bother putting it in the stores because no one's going to see it. No one's going to understand it. Does that make sense, guys? Right? So in network marketing, because these kind of products sell better through someone taking it, I have great result. I'm going to share it. So because of that, network marketing lends itself to become the best form of sales for these products. So anyways, I want to mention that as well too. And so it wasn't that USANA didn't have good products. Of course, if you want to compare to FOL, my opinion, it's uncomparable. For one, again, in USANA, I was paying $180 for my own supply of 28 days of morning and afternoon pills, right? $180. And again, I didn't even feel anything. This product here, you know, you can get for the same price, you can almost get 3 bottles, 2 to 3 bottles of this. So now I can take care of myself, my mom, and my dad, right? And this does like a million more things. Anyways, we're not, it's not really about the product training today. But anyways, I had moved on to the travel company because, we thought, okay, it's fun. Why not, get some commissions on traveling. Um, so again, we built PTN, and I was really committed. I had found it was a US company in Utah. I had found a bubble tea restaurant where I talked to the owner. I said, "Can I borrow your restaurant to do presentations for my travel business?" He said, "Yes." And so basically, every Saturday, everyone would go into the bubble tea. I arranged a set bubble tea and lunch combination. So you had to buy this lunch and bubble tea and you watch a presentation. And so we had built a team of about 124 people in a few short months in that business. And but a few things happened. And it almost actually took me out of network marketing altogether. Despite I love network marketing and the whole concept, it almost actually took me out. So what happened in PTN was, again, and this is where I learned a lot about the importance of a good compensation plan, right? So how many of you guys have been in a previous company? Just raise your hands if you've been in a previous company, right? And how many of you can now see the difference between your previous compensation plans and ours, right? Like it's a whole world of difference, right? I see everyone like raising 2 hands, right? So, I see more than 10 companies, right? Yeah, or 10. I'm not sure what 10 means, but I think it's 10 companies. Um, Fortunately for me, Opulence was my third company. So USANA, this travel one. But in the travel one, what happened was I had risen the ranks. And when you're going up the ranks, you're so happy. Like, oh, okay, I'm this TD, I'm an RTD, regional training director, right? And everything's going well. You're happy, you're making money. What happened was on one of the trip months, you had to sponsor like 20 new people had to join your team. If that happened, you got $1,000 bonus. So that month, as an RTD, I had 20 people that had launched into the business because they wanted their own travel packages, whatever it was. Mind you, we realized afterwards that when you book flights, it's never cheaper. When you book hotels, it's never cheaper. Only if you book like 100 people in this like resort might it be cheaper, but that's aside from the point. So anyways, in that month, call it the month of April, I qualified for the $1,000 bonus. What happened was, beginning of May, someone in my team had lost their rank. So this is where I realized that ranks can also screw you in some cases. So someone in my team deranked or they lost their rank. And what happened to me was, guess what? So what happens to your rank if someone in your team deranks? Well, usually if they derank, then you also go down. So from regional training director, I dropped down to training director. And this was like the very first few days of May. Of course, the company, when they're running their bonus, the $1,000 bonus I should have received, they run this commission bonus at the start of the next month because the month of April has to finish before they run the commissions for May, right? So guess what? I got like $50 instead of $1,000 because, but so again, you know me, I emailed the company, emailed the president. I said, hello, Mr. President. I said, in the month of April, my rank was this rank. I should have qualified for this bonus, right? And I even had screenshots to show my rank. And the reply to me was, again, this is like an RTD, right? The reply to me was, well, Rene, our system cannot check what you were back then. So unfortunately, we cannot give you the bonus. That message took the wind out of my sail. How can you treat, one of your leaders, go look harder, in the system to find that. And the one thing you'll notice about Opulence Global is the company, if there's a way, they will try. Like they go beyond their call of duty to go and help us. They even sometimes help call your people to make sure they're on the monthly payments so you get your check still, right? So that, killed me. And I have a little bit of a special treat for you guys today. And I don't often do this, but I thought, why not show you a little bit of what happened and to kind of show you guys. So let me see if I can share my screen here. So I'm just going to share my desktop. And let me know if you can see these photos here. Rico, do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see Rene. Yes.
Okay. So here's me, young party guy at a university. Anyways, next one. I love karaoke. Okay, that's me back then. So here's me. This was actually on the cruise ship for PTN. And at this point in time, I had started to lose a bit of motivation. Do you know? I think this is actually Sherry Zhao. No, that's not her. Anyways, if you know Sherry Zhao, which is our lifestyle director for in California, she was my sponsor in this last company. What happened for her though was when my rank passed her rank, it basically screwed her because now she has someone who has a higher rank below her, right? So what happened to Sherry was she basically quit the business. She's like, there's no point in me doing this because I can't catch up to Rene. And that's another issue that people don't realize when it comes to compensation plans is in our company, if you ever had like two lifestyle director fours, one on each leg, even if you were just a regular lifestyle advisor, like not even ranked, you are financially set for the rest of your life because our ranks don't impact your commissions, right? So, anyways, that's me with the president of that company on stage receiving my regional training director rank. But again, after I got screwed, I literally fell asleep. So my friend actually took a photo of me falling asleep during training. I had lost all spirit of doing that company and motivation. But I think things happen for a reason. And so even though I had lost motivation, I'm just gonna pause my screen here. I was still doing presentations for PTM because I didn't know what else to do. And one day my sister gets a phone call from someone and they want her to look at another opportunity. And so my sister goes on behalf of her husband, it's her husband's friend, and it was to go look at Global Wealth Trade, which is Opulence Global. So Opulence Global was formerly known as Global Wealth Trade. And her goal was to go to this meeting, look at Global Wealth Trade, and tell the person why they should join Pro Travel Network, right? So the whole goal is to go there and really do the reverse thing and have them join join PTN, the travel company. She didn't come back, and she didn't come back till like 7 p.m. that night. And she came into my room because we're living in the same house still, and she had a briefcase, Global Wealth Trade, right? And I was like, Monica, did you join this other company? I was like, did you seriously join another company? I was like, what happened to, Pro Travel Network, right? And she joined. And I was like, hey, whatever, right? And back then it was jewelry. And so, my sister comes into my room, which is odd. Like she doesn't like coming to my room usually, right? She sits on my bed and I'm on my desk, right? And like, she doesn't normally do that. And she starts trying to pitch me on GWT, right? And I said, Monica, isn't this the whole jewelry MLM? And she's like, yeah. I said, well, Monica, I don't even wear jewelry. But she said one thing to me, and that I couldn't deny the logic. She said, well, Rene, you think about network marketing, there's so many companies that were doing health and travel, whatever. And she's like, this is the only company that actually does jewelry. And the reality is, even though you don't like jewelry, the entire population back from Queen Cleopatra in Egypt, back to like 2000, 3000 BC, everyone wears jewelry. Why not give it a try? So I understood the logic. I was like, wow, she's right. As a business point of view, we'd be so unique being the only, again, until today, we're the only designer fashion house in the world that has fashion. Like this is from our company, right? This is tungsten from our company, right? This diamond ring, 21 karat gold is from the company, right? So, anyways, it made that part I understood. And but I was still, my heart was still kind of in the travel company. And she's smart. She goes, Rene, can you do me a favor? The whole favor approach, right? Can you do me a favor and help me look at this company's compensation plan? Help me take a look at this comp plan. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. She's like, Renee, she said I was really smart. I knew she's smarter than me, but she said, Renee, really smart. So I went to go, and that was the night that I got a chance to meet our corporate team. I met Sanaz, I met Ramin that night. That was the night I met. Okay, so I got there at 7 p.m. And it's so funny, this story. I had to tell this the story. What happened was that night I got there, I told my sister, Monica, please tell the people there I do not want to see a product presentation. I get the whole point of jewelry being unique. Say, because I got so tired of going to meetings and sitting in a chair for an hour hearing a product presentation. I said, save me that. Let's just talk about the comp plan that you wanted me to go and look at, right? And so when I got there, the actual, executive back then made me a coffee and accidentally put salt in my coffee instead of sugar. So, I already had this not good vibe going in. It was a brand new building. They just started renovating it. The green walls. Kind of just it's like a small building. They just opened in Toronto, and I drank the coffee. I thought it was like that they had bad coffee because they put salt in, right? And then of course the guy realizes he's, oh, I'm so sorry, I put salt by accident. So he made me another cup of coffee. And when you go in, when you're a bit like defensive, you always have your arms crossed, right? During the meetings, as a defensive mechanism, right? You always cross your arms, whatever it is. And so I was doing that. And as they were presenting the compensation plan, I had never seen a compensation plan. Like USANA was binary, but the most you can make was 1,000 per week per center. And they would flush a bunch of crap all the time. We asked all these questions. I was like, so you don't flush volume ever? Like ever? Like never. You can have 10 million bank volume. I was like, what? I was like, you pay on both of the legs, not just like one of the two legs, or and I was like, and you can make up to 60,000 per week instead of 1,000 per week. And they're like, yes. I was like, what? And I was like, so you don't cap at 10 levels? And they're like, no, we pay to infinity. I'm like, what? Like, you don't have ranks that can screw your person above you if they surpass you, or what if you surpass them? Like, no, ranks don't dictate your income. I'm like, what? So literally, we didn't leave. And true story, not lie to this word, almost it was like 2:33 in the morning. And that night, we had asked um, the company. So like we asked every possible question because in this kind of a business, we knew timing was everything. Like if I were to wait a week and join a week later because it's a binary that builds on two legs, I might miss on the next big leader that could have been below me. So I knew we're the only ones there that night. If I'm going to join, I better join right now because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. And they just opened intro. So I knew timing was like everything, right? So, and lo and behold, um, within a week, a bunch of people joined. So I was like, good thing I joined that night. But anyways, 1:30 in the morning, they had ordered us pizza because I was getting hungry. And I guess, we're having a good talk. What happened was suddenly the power goes out. And in the back of my mind, because I was being negative, I was like, oh, this company, they don't pay their bills. Right? I was thinking of every possible reason. I was like, this company didn't pay their bills, right? And so then what I did was, I quietly walked to the window and I kind of opened the blinds to peek down the street. And it confirmed my belief the whole block lost power. So my whole thing was, if other buildings had lights on, it meant they didn't pay their bills, right? But the whole block, like for like as far as I could see, there's no power, right? So I knew whatever. So what happened was, the way we got signed up that night, there was forms. We were using the light from the laptops. We were using the cell phone lights to sign the application form. What a memory. What a memory it was for me. Signing up on laptop lights and cell phone lights. And fortunately, we had so many questions, and that was the start of the change of my life forever. That one night. But again, this is Rene, right? I was a bit negative still, even though I signed up. My heart was still kind of in the travel company, right? And so I kept doing the travel company. And what happened was, Monica, she's so smart, right? She's like, Rene, someone else joined today. Someone else joined today. We have 5 people on the team now, right? I was like, what? I'm not doing anything. And there's people joining because it's a binary system, right? And so what happened was, she says, Rene, if you put one person in PTN, you might make $50. But if you put the same person in GWT, we're going to make 350. I was like, what? So, things just, suddenly, the one thing I realized was, in a compensation plan, if your plan makes you build more than 2 legs, don't do it. If your plan doesn't pay you to infinity, don't do it. If the plan doesn't pay you on 2 legs, don't do it. If the plan has all these ranks that can screw you later on, don't do it. If the plan, has a maximum earning percentage of 1,000 per week, where ours is 60,000 per week, don't do it, right? So like, these are the basic things that we teach. We teach these things in our company because we're not embarrassed to talk about them. You ever realize that other companies, like if I wanted to ever do a training, and we've done it before on compensation plan pitfalls, every other company on this planet would not want you on that call because you'd realize all the issues they have in their compensation plan. In our company, we don't have these issues, right? All right, so hold on, let me get some drink here because I'm getting kind of heated up right now at the moment, right? Yeah. So, anyways, the whole flushing thing. My kids' accounts have like $6 million, or like, no, sorry, more. It was like more like $9 million of bank volume. Like no other company does that. Every other company has a cap eventually of your volume carryover, right? So, anyways, um, it took me a whole week after signing up to decide. Okay, you know what? Again, I had decided to forget PTN. I was going to focus my time here. But my concern was, how do I talk to all the people that were in my last company? How do I convince them to come to this company, right? Because I was like, I don't want to be that kind of person that's known as jumping around. So Ramin, but by the way, after I signed up, I made a list of like 35 questions, and I brought my questions back to Ramin, and he actually took the time to answer all of my 35 questions in the office. And if you know me, because I was computer science, I ran a model. We had someone generate a model in a computer to see if all the people signed up, would the system crash itself. So we actually had a friend of ours design a computer program that would simulate people joining to see if it could crash the system. And long story short, it was not crashable. Um, but anyways, so again, I got my questions answered from Ramin. A week later, I decided to go and build this thing. And, you know, I had to call back, and Ramin told me, Rene, the people you sponsored into your previous company, maybe this is you, maybe you come from another company and you don't want to touch people's toes, But to me, if I brought someone into my last company, they had them because I brought them in, right? And they're my friends. So my whole idea was, let me make money here first in Opulence before I talk to my friends. So I can prove to them that this thing works, right? But then Ramin said something and I could not disagree with it. He said, well, Rene, how would your friends feel if you waited till you made money and then you told them? They're going to ask you, why didn't you tell me sooner? Right? Because they should be the first ones I talk to. If they're my friends, I care about them. They should be the first ones to get positioned right below me instead of having other people join first and then them later, right? So I called all these people back and I just said, look, hey guys, you know that I love PTN, the travel is fun, all that great stuff. But as your friend, I just felt responsible to tell you that if I found something better, I'm not here to ask you to join again, but I feel that I should at least tell you about it so you can decide for yourself. All of my people that was in PTN, some said, Rene, I'll come look at it, but I'm not going to join because I like what I'm doing right now. Everyone came to look at it, and to my shock, every single person signed up. Every single one of them. When they saw the compensation plan. And so my first many years, all I talked about was comp plan, comp plan, comp plan, comp plan, comp plan, comp plan, comp plan. Like if you know me back then, it's like all numbers, right? I had learned to draw the compensation plan upside down. So if you're sitting in front of me at a coffee shop, I could write upside down. I could draw circles upside down. I could draw everything upside down. I had become so involved into that, right? Um, and so I don't know if you heard my story, but I'm just going to finish off my story just by showing again my screen here to show you what had happened after that. So we were at the cruise. So I joined. Short while later, I met this beautiful lady, Heidi. This is me back then. And I really wanted to marry her. So I eventually proposed to her with this $47,000 21 karat gold diamond ring. My cost was about 30,000, and she didn't know I was going to buy for her. By the way, she thought that I didn't have the money back then, but I was actually making money, so she said yes. And again, she knew me when I was just a regular Joe guy, right? Um, was being coachable. My first ever trade show I went to, I was so nervous. I didn't know how to talk to people. Like I was so scared. But again, I just learned, it's have fun, talk to people. Again, it's all jewelry back then. This is the diamond ring that I had bought for Heidi, and we still have it today. It's actually gone up to about $80,000 now. We have all the appraisals as well too. And then we had gotten married. And actually, if you don't know, she was pregnant before we got married. So we found out. We got to Taiwan. I asked her dad if I could propose to Heidi, and he said yes. The day we flew back to Taiwan, we found out that she was pregnant. So I called back her dad, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, good news. Heidi's pregnant." And he didn't believe me for like a whole next hour. So, but because we just saw him the week before, so at this point in time, I had been able to, again, start winning a lot of awards from the company. That's Sanaz back then, and me. That's Sherry. So again, Sherry, I ended up recruiting her. So she was my upline. I became her upline in our business, and we won the President's Cup trophy. And of course, that's Rex, my older son that was born. By then, again, I was just so blessed that I was able to actually raise my kids from home. I was already full time in the business. I quit my job 14 months after being in this business. By then, I was earning about 20,000 a month. Very blessed. Again, income disclaimer. My efforts based upon my efforts and my teams. Yours may vary, but again, was this kind of a plan? Just don't quit. And one story that I don't know if you heard, but I was because in Taiwan culture, when the baby's born, you want the wife to rest, right? So every single bottle feed, every single diaper change, pretty much I was doing it. I wanted Heidi to rest. And I was very blessed that I was able to do that, because if you see the bond that I have with my children, it's very, very close. Like I'm just so blessed. Like I don't think money can buy that. This kind of a bond that I have, I'm just so blessed that I have it. With my kids too. And so, anyways, I was a full-time dad by then, and again, at home with them all the time, playing with them, teaching them all the time, and just a lot of fun. And so eventually, we were able to buy our first townhome, 438,000. Later on, we had sold it for almost, I think, 730,000. Later on, my first home ever. Moved out of my parents' house, and from my Corolla, we bought a Honda Accord Coupe car before that. And then I got my first Lexus IS 250 all-wheel drive. It was that's like my the fanciest car I had back then. Time went on. Again, Sherry became a leader, and we kept growing as well too. And we had family always gathering get-togethers. That's my wife and her family. This is me and Ramin, actually, our CEO. I think about a few years, 2010, literally almost 11 years ago. I've been following our wonderful CEO, and I always thank God first, and I do thank Ramin second, because I think without him, again, I wouldn't be here today. Same with God. And then we had our second child born. And when Liam was born, what happened was my wife really wanted to have her grandparents experience having a grandchild. It's her first one. So we actually moved to Taiwan in like 1 month notice. We just packed our bags, went, bought $1 million condo in Taiwan, and stayed the next 2 years. And that's the beauty of this business. Like, we have people in this business, like Ronan, who, can literally build as they travel the world. He's in Thailand, got stuck there due to COVID, but he's in like, the go-to destination for travel vacations. Yet he's building his business remotely from Thailand, on the beaches of the waters of the world, right? So you can literally travel the world and expanding while building this business. And so I was in Taiwan. After 4 years, I had made my first $1 million of earning in the business, and then won my first President's Cup trophy in 2017, I think it was. It's funny, right? If you look at these photos, we were all slightly overweight back then. And then because of Fountain of Life, because Fountain of Life came in 2018, we all lost weight, right? We all lost weight, right? Again, not my wife. Disclaimer: my wife is always the right. She was never overweight, so don't want to kill me later, right? So and then, again, just me, it's always about the family time with my two kids. And you can see how they love sitting on me, and we're always so close before. And so we got bored of Taiwan. We kind of missed Toronto. So we came back, and we actually had got my dream car, the BMW M5. It's a 560 V8 twin turbo horsepower, dual clutch. This thing goes 0 to 100 in 3.7 seconds, this car. And it was by far like my most expensive car, $130,000 vehicle that I've ever driven before. And these are gloves from Opulence Global, by the way, too. So again, every year we go back to Taiwan, and we can travel the world. And everywhere I go for business, if my wife wants to go there, we go with the family, and the kids get to experience, like, my kids are not even 12 and 10. They've been to over like 12 countries already, and it's a beautiful thing to go expand a new market and do business as well too with them, and expand the market. We came back, we bought our newest home, which is about $1 million or so, and that was my previous home, and that was like, again, like our dream home again, and that was like a nice home there too. Eventually, I changed my car to my current car, which is the Tesla P90D. It's a $200,000 vehicle, and the cool thing is you can qualify for all your car payments on a monthly basis. So I haven't had to pay for a car for like, for a long time now as well. And so this is like my dream car. I still have it today. 0 to 100 in 2.7 seconds. It's like a beast, right? So, and then of course, what happened was we wanted to build our own home. And this is my current home that's custom built. We actually could design it from inside out. It's about $3 million market price today. And I live here today. Now there's this huge fencing on the outside. It's a bit different. But of course, more recently, as you start to earn more money, And what's remarkable again is the way I got here was because I personally introduced 124 people to the business, but it grew now to over 24,000 partners in 130 countries. And imagine getting paid 8.5% on every sale that happens in the 24,000 plus people across the world. That's how you make residual income. So my goal in this business was in 2 to 5 years, can I make 5,000 a month residual income? In this company, with this plan, with this product, I can tell you it's very possible. In other companies, it's like not possible. It's just too hard, all right? Because they cut you off to 10 levels. There's ranks, you can lose your things. They cap you 1,000 per week. It's just not possible. Here in our plan, it's definitely possible. But recently we went to the builder on English Glen, Calmore. They built new homes, and we are kind of curious. We could, even though our home is about 4,000 square feet, we thought, we could go a bit bigger and have, more fun parties kind of thing. And so we went to go look at this other house. I'm going to show this last one here. I go back to this one over here. Oh, sorry, by the way, we also had a lot of cruises together. This is actually the last Opulence cruise that we went on with the whole team. A lot of fun. Again, always spending time with the kids. Everywhere I go, I bring them with me. And yeah, so here's the last photo. So this home here, it's actually not it's like a rendering. It's actually a lot bigger on the side here. It's about 5,600 square feet. I think with all of the closing and all the upgrades in the backyard, it should come close to about $5 million, this home. And yeah, we actually bought it, and it's closing in May of 2024 is when we take possession of this property. And so all in all, I'm just again very, very privileged and blessed this morning to be able to share with you guys what has changed my life forever from 13 years ago. But I'm telling you guys, we're just getting started. 99.9% of the world has not heard of this product. Think about what's there to come in the future, right? We just launched a microsilver spray, right? This product here is not even out yet. Like, if you look at the timing of where we are right now in this company, we're literally registering countries as we're speaking. We have not hit the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg. Like, you need to understand where we are. We only have 100,000 distributors. That is nothing. So, I hope you guys understand, if you're looking for an opportunity that is feasible, that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you can take 5,000 a month, reverse engineer it, and it's doable. That's 800 people you need in your team. 600 to 800 people to generate 5,000 a month residual. That is doable. To build 10,000 people might take a lot longer, right? In our company, with 600 people, you can easily make 10,000 a month in our business, and way more than that, right? It is doable here in our company. And so I just wanted to close out by saying again, thank you so much for allowing me to share my journey with all of you guys on today's call. And I do hope that it inspires you to look at network marketing, and in particular, Opulence Global, in a whole new way you never saw before. And I think just to share a few quick things about why compensation plan matters. I actually wanted to invite 3 people that I had asked earlier if they could speak today. One was Ifra, one was Henry, and one was Amarjeet. And so if Ifra, Amarjeet, and Henry can raise your hands, because I know that they, of course, love looking at the compensation plan. Can we just quickly unmute them and have them share again? Yeah, so Ifra, I think you're there. Hi, Ifra. Good morning.
Good morning, good evening for me here, Rene. Thank you so much for the phenomenal story. I've heard your story of, here and there, but today, just listening again, just getting goosebumps. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you have done. To all the guests, you have no idea how lucky you are to be sitting here today. Be very thankful whoever invited you. So yes, I'm honored, and go ahead, ask me any question. I'm ready.
Yeah, no, I mean, just one more quick question was, because for me, the biggest turning point was seeing the compensation plan and how it pays to infinity, right? So, just in your experience, I want to ask you, like, what was the thing about the comp plan that whatever you want to talk about the comp plan, in less than 2 to 3 minutes, what did you see about the comp plan that appealed to you?
Absolutely. For me, honestly, the compensation plan, like you, it's really what got me, right? I'm a numbers person. My background is economics. So I wanted to know, how do we make money in this company, right? So watching your video, you at the board, watching it and going through the numbers, it just expanded my mind. And someone who has never had any experience in network marketing, I didn't know about the whole binary and everything. So looking back right now, it's like, God just put me in the right place at the right time. I'm just, so blessed. So what really fascinates me, Rene, about our compensation plan, like you mentioned, number one is the never flushing of the volume, right? Number two is that whole idea about how you have people helping you build one side. So really, your job it's so much easier than any other companies that we hear where you have to do everything. The other thing I absolutely love about is the fact that your rank never ever changes. If you're an LD1, guess what? You're gonna stay LD1. You're just gonna go up, not down, right? I love the fact that we have the MGRS. Just yesterday, my sister Vern and I were talking about how, the MGRS really is what makes our Opulence Global Nation help each other no matter what team that we're on. Because at the end of the day, when that share comes in, we all get a contribution of that wherever we are in the world in 200 countries and territories. So I love that. I love the fact that we have the car club bonus where within 30 days, the first 30 days, you're able to hit that. Same with the MGRS. So I love that. It's just phenomenal. And for me, when I hit, the highest income target this past September, when I look at the number of people I've had, it is insane. I've had about, I believe, 1,087 at the time when I hit 10,000 a week. Like you said,
Wow.
yes, like you said, in any other company, I would need so much more, at least 10,000 people to be able to hit that. So my ED ratio is just insane, and that just goes to show you how we truly have the best of the best. So thank you again, Rene, for allowing me to share. Thank you for sharing your blueprint to go from that little kid who used to eat at the Swiss Chalet. By the way, I can stand Swiss Chalet. I'm with you on that. To this amazing multimillionaire. So thank you again.
I mean, again, thank you so much for sharing. You're a tremendous leader. And I mean, back in Chile, if you bought the family dinner, they had that little chest that you could open up for those free things. That was like the high moment for me back at Chile, the little toy chest to get a free prize, right? But anyways, I'm gonna thank you, Ifra. And again, you're a huge inspiration for so many women in the world too. So yeah, again, thank you for sharing. Yeah, Emerjit, I think we have you on call as well too. Emerjit, hello, Emerjit.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Wow, wow, wow. Amazing, very inspiration story you have. And I mean, we definitely, like what Ifra said, you have, share the story over and again, but we never ever feel like, oh, this all over again. No, we get inspired every time listening to you. We get inspired more and more and more. Yes, definitely, because for me, like Ifra has not been in the multi-level MLM before, but like myself, yes, I've been many. And the day that when you showed me the compensation plan, I told I'm in. Before the tour start, Rene, the tour haven't started yet. I joined before the tour start. When Rene
That's
showed me
right.
the
Actually, it's funny, Emoji wasn't supposed to come to me, or I invited her. She didn't want to come. The
yes.
person that got her to come, guess who it was? It was Mike, her husband. He said to her, "You're not doing anything anyways. I'm going to my guys' hangout. Why don't you just go and listen?" And because of Mike, actually, she went. And again, that I guess changed your life forever as well, too, right?
Yes, it's amazing. And like I said, the compensation plan, I'm also a person with compensation plan. Usually I don't talk much about a product. I always talk about a compensation plan, how we are paid and how our volume is not flushed and it is infinity. That's is amazing. And like what Rene said, we are in rank. Even if someone has our own rank, we are not, we still get paid. A lot of company, once you're on the same level, you miss that paid out. So it's an amazing compensation plan. If you are a guest here, don't wait. Position yourself right away. right away. That's very, very important.
Thank
And
you.
like also I would mention, we are still planting seeds. We are still planting seeds.
Thank you. And
Yes.
actually, real quick question for you. What would be like your best week? And do you know your team size back then roughly?
Oh, my team size now is about 1,007 with 1,700 plus 33 countries, and my best week was $9,000.
Wow. Again, same kind of numbers as IFRA, right? Like a 1 to 10 ratio, right? That is fantastic. And again, I know, thank you so much, Amajit. I know because
And
we
also,
have
I
the
would
same
say that, you know, I came back to my hometown and got my husband retired.
You also retired your husband, right? That's amazing, guys. I mean, how often do you hear of someone like the wife able to retire the husband, right? I think every guy who's on this call, we'd be like, hey, if our wife can retire us, please do, right? So again, that's the power again of this business, right? So that is so awesome. Again, thank you, Emoji, for sharing that.
Thank
And
you,
again,
Rene, for allowing me to share. Thank you very much. Thank you.
thank you. And if we have other leaders that want to share again about the comp plan stuff, please feel free to. I want to take some time as well to answer any questions. If we have any guests on the call, you want to ask your questions, please do in the Q&A chat box. But for now, let's hear from our incredible RTCMP, Registered Traditional Chinese Medicine Practitioner. We call him Dr. Henry. Henry, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you for being on the call. Good morning.
Thank you very much for having a great, amazing training. Every time I hear your story, it's always a great inspiration. I just can't hear enough of it. So I wish we have more people on the call. Actually, it's very inspiring. And then the first time I met you, I was very impressed with everything you presented about the product, about the compensation, about the opportunity, and about the company. So everything was in place. That's almost everything that I've been looking for many years that I have. I started actually. I joined briefly with Amway many years ago, almost 25 years ago, 26 years ago. Since then, I never really left left this industry. I have been in and out of so many different companies and products, so I know the ins and outs of everything. And a lot of them, I just tip in and see what's going on, and then I kind of left it. I know it's not for me. Until recently, I was in a lot of company and I worked hard on it, but I wasn't getting anywhere. I was also kind of missing the opportunity, sort of. So I wasn't doing that great, and because of the price of the product and again the compensation. It's not the greatest until I met this fountain of life. This really blew my mind off. I was thinking if everything Rene was telling me is true, this is my opportunity, and then that I have proved it to be true, and it has been working very well. I achieved my LD3 just in a few months, and then right now I'm actually working on my LD4. So I'm actually making good progress. My market is also over 20 countries, and I have getting close to about 700 people in my team. And the China market is going well, and it's going in Hong Kong, in all of these, good markets, I guess. Eventually, we will all be getting there, and the compensation, I actually edited my own 26 advantages about company and opportunity and compensation. So I had a very, very good summary of what's the advantages of our company, our products, and all of that. So the compensation is the greatest. I haven't seen anything that's negative about this company, about the product yet. I might never find anything negative. But so far, everything is a positive journey, and I'm so grateful that we have this opportunity. And every time I share the product to the people, share the opportunity with the people, I feel I am the extension of God's hand. I'm trying to help people, helping them to be healthy, helping them to be wealthy as well. So it's an opportunity for everybody. And as I said, it goes to countries, to even like in getting wealthy country like China, we still have relatively more poorer provinces and territories and areas that people cannot afford very high-end expensive products. But this product is almost like a grassroots. It can dig in anywhere it has a soil. It's just anywhere it can go. And the people who are wealthy, they have billions of dollars to spend. They also like our product is because it doesn't have to be expensive. We're so good. So a good product doesn't have to be very expensive. So the people who used to think that it'll be a shame for them to use cheaper products, but they think this product is way underpriced. So they don't care. They said, if it's good, I don't care how cheap it is, how less expensive it is. So they love the product no matter how wealthy they are. So it doesn't have to be expensive to be good. And our product is so affordable that it's just digging itself into anywhere in the world. And we love every aspect of the product, the company, the compensation, and even the team. Our team are also the greatest with the leaders like Rico, like Rene, Amajit, and all the people, Reza and Roland. We have all the good leaders in our company, and we are following our leaders, and we are even like, Ifra is showing an example of how fast you can build it. Okay, so everybody has the opportunity, and let's work together and build our own dreams. We have this one dream come true. 50 other different dreams can come true together with it. So let's work on it. Thank you for giving me the chance to share.
Thank you, Henry. It's actually what's really funny for those who don't know. But the reason why I met Henry was because I was actually training one of my other leaders in the company, rising leader. And in the head office, they had asked me, Rene, where do you find people, And I said to them, they're everywhere. Even on Google Maps, you can find them. Just type in natural path on Google Maps. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, let me show you. So I literally opened my phone in the office and I typed in natural path into my phone. And guess whose store was the first one that popped up on that list that I called? It was actually Henry. So I called Henry I tried to prove to my leader that it can be done, right? And I always lead by example. Like whatever I'm teaching you guys, I always do it myself first. So I actually called Henry and I said, oh, hi, is this the owner of, I didn't know how to pronounce his store, Seiji Saizi, whatever, Seiji Canada. He says, yes,
Canada,
Seiji Canada, yeah. So he's like, yes, it is. Well, this is Rene Liaw. Nice to meet you. My name is, I have a brand new product. It just got Health Canada approved. It is the world's most powerful antioxidant. Have you heard of lignans before? He said, well, no. So we kind of talked a little bit about that. To make a long story short, I said, I'd love to come by to your store sometime, bring a sample and show you some incredible testimonials of our product. And he said, okay, sure. So I'll just try to prove a point to my leader that it can be done. So I actually went to his store the next day. Make a long story short, he actually ended up buying 6 bottles at first. When I told him if you buy 12, you get 1 free, he said, okay, give me 12 instead. He bought 13. But at his store, what caught my attention was on his shelf at his store, I saw like OPC, which is Market America. I saw something from like New Skin. I saw like Reserve from I saw all these different MLM products in his shelf. I was like, he's probably pretty open to different kind of products. And so long story short, I just sold him products that day. I didn't talk anything about the business. I invited him for another meeting to come to our office to learn about, how to incorporate our product into his business. And when he saw everything, he joined. And Henry, I want to ask you, how many companies in direct sales have you been in before making this your home?
I think about 25.
Yeah. I think he beat Ronan's record. So 25 companies.
One good thing is I'm open enough to still for opportunity, because what I do is I actually design, formulate natural medicine products for different conditions. Let's say you need a gout for something for gout, something for diabetes, something for hair loss, something for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and then we need something for the joints. We need something for what else? Frequent urination or impotency, whatever. There are so many things. I was trying to reach 100 different products for different conditions. But I actually kind of stopped short. I said, I don't need that many anymore. I don't need to make a product for every condition. And this Fountain of Life might be my last one-stop shopping for everything. Because when you are doing the formulation, you always are looking for the efficacy, the price, the profit margin, and then how safe it is. And if you have one product that's been recalled, one product that's been unwelcome by the market, then you might have to just get rid of it, dispose of it, so that you lose a lot of money and there's a lot of risk in it too. And you need a lot of marketing advertisement investment, and then all of that, you actually run a lot of risk too. If you bound into a certain advertisement agreement with the TV station, for example, it's $50,000 a year just to let's say to market it. But if it doesn't work out well, then you lose net, let's say $30,000, $40,000 a month just on advertising. Let's say short of the income that you can earn from what you put out. So with all of that, eventually I realized I just need to plug into this giant Fountain of Life opportunity, so that it's already a fast moving bullet train already going forward. I just need to plug my cart onto it. So I don't have to have a warehouse. I don't have to have a research facility. I don't have to have a big facility of a factory. I don't need anything. I just
one-stop shop, like you're saying.
Yeah, plug in and then get going on it, and then get my people on board, and that's all I did. And so since May of 2019, I qualified for car bonus and qualified for MGIS all along to now. So I think I'm going to continue to follow Amarjit. Amarjit had the longest span of a qualification, and I'm following her, trying to reach, let's say 30 months, 40 months, maybe, let's say, who knows, maybe many years to come. And the car bonus is a great bonus to have, and it's great. So yeah,
thank you, Henry.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Again, it's I'm not sure how long this call is supposed to be on for, but it's having a great time here. Sharing my story, hearing other stories, and if anyone else wants to share or any questions from the guests, if you're a guest on the call, you have any questions, please feel free to ask him. I think also Rowan, if you're there as well too. You again, I want to make sure you get a chance to share, because I know that you come from a huge background, of course, in direct sales. And share a bit about how what you've seen here in our company with the compensation plan. And yeah, go ahead, feel free to share, please.
Hi, Rene. Thank you for an incredible story. And I'm going to keep this really short because we've been keeping everybody for very long. But I think it's all been said. For anyone that never done the industry, never understood compensation plan, what we spoke about today will make absolutely no sense. It's Chinese. For anyone that has been in network marketing, especially as a professional, and we all know that 90% are not professional, they are sometimes hobbyists, but 10% are professionals, these people will understand our comp plan and will understand the massive differences that it provides. And you said it all. We have a brilliant solution for auto ship, which has always been a challenge in our industry, that people are forced to buy products every month, pay shipping every month, and we gave them a perfect solution to accumulate their funds and only buy the products they need when they need it. That's a massive change in a comp plan. The fact that our owner was brilliant enough to understand the biggest challenge in networking, which was, how do I make my field do things, but not take away their money? Because network marketing, they're supposed to pay us for every product sold in our organization. But in other comp plans, they put ranks and say, if you don't hit that, you will get half of your money or no money, or you lose points, or all of this stuff, where our incredible owner has done something so smart. He said, no, first I'm going to pay people for all sales. That's it. You sell to a customer, you get paid. You have an organization and partners and their customers buy stuff, you will get paid. Never mind what rank you are, never mind, you get paid for that. And then he said, if I want my people to do their job, which is to bring new blood, new customers, new partners, then he makes a separate bonus. We call it MGRS. And it doesn't make a difference if you don't qualify for your MGRS. You're still going to get paid on the product sold in your company. Those things most people don't understand because they've never really made money in the industry. And if you don't make money, you don't know what you get paid on anyway. You're just in this social media event doing kumbaya and having maybe a good time, enjoying really good products, but you don't really understand that you have a business like any other business. So, best tip, before I say goodbye, understand this is the McLaren of the industry. This is the Ferrari. Whatever car you seem to be the best, this is one is this. But remember, if I go on a Ferrari and I never drove a Ferrari, I will not be able to produce the same result as someone that's been driving that Ferrari for a very long time. So yes, you are here. You found home. You found the best vehicle for yourself. Understand, take it as a challenge to find out why our compensation plan is the best in the world. The only way to do that is start earning money, see what you get paid for, and then you talk to other friends that are in different companies, and you'll see their eyes going, what? You get paid on this, and it doesn't make a difference what rank, and like Rene did before. What? If you understand the industry, then you know this is the most versatile company in the world, the most versatile. It gives you a shopping center online, not a shop online, 6 different stores. It gives you landing pages. It gives you everything you can imagine that you need. The only thing missing is you. What are you going to do? How much are you going to learn? How much are you going to talk to each and every one of us? Because we're here to work with you. I don't care who you are in this company. We get paid for all the volume. So even if you're not in my organization, right? We are one company. Ask questions. And remember, there are no stupid questions. There's only stupid people that don't ask questions. That's why they stay stupid. You must ask questions all the time. Don't be afraid of sounding stupid. Nobody's expecting you to know anything. Come here, take hands with us, learn and change your life. The same as you saw Ifan, Amajit, and I mean, Henry, and I can give you so many names of incredible people. And of course, our peak, our prime, is our youngest millionaire in this company, which the honor we all had to listen to his life story today. And you will not find in this industry many people that are so authentic, so real, so pleasant, so humble, like Rene Liaw. Thank you, Rene, for a great life story.
Yeah, thank you, Rony, for sharing those few words again. You have a lot of experience too, and again, thank you for sharing that. It has been a great morning, folks. I was really glad to be able to share with you a lot of sort of what I've been going through the last few years. I do hope again that it's in some shape or form has inspired you to go and get your own, you know. And there's actually one little quote that I want to share with you guys. I'm always on different sort of success posts, and it's kind of funny. And it's sort of talking about the industry of network marketing and compared to a job, right? And it says, you know, in the beginning, we do more work for upfront, you know, some good bonuses, maybe, but usually you do more work for less to no income. You know, maybe that's the beginning of network marketing. In the long term, we make more income for less to no effort. And what's happened is society has made most people skeptic because schools have taught us to always look for employment and salaries instead of opportunities. Opportunities, you do a lot of work up front, like starting off a business with maybe very little profit or earnings. But in the long run, you do very little work for a lot of money. And that is the key difference. I want to encourage all of you guys on the call today, especially if you're a guest, hop on board, join us. And again, I want to say a very special thank you to all of you for joining me this wonderful Sunday morning. Again, you know, and thank you for sharing your inspiring words. We can have the call open for a bit longer for those who want to share more. But Rico, as always, my first time meeting you in Philippines and watching you on stage presenting, I was like, who is this dude? This amazing presenter that is so well spoken. You're like my inspiration for becoming a proper speaker. I talk too fast. I mumble sometimes. I don't enunciate, but you are just an amazing, you know, again, we're so blessed to have you in our company. And thank you for being a host today. And I'll turn the call back to you, Rico. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Rene. And of course, I know that a lot of people are inspired here. We have a lot of messages coming to our chat group right now. Everyone saying thank you. Everyone saying they're inspired. And if you are here for the first time, we encourage you to take a serious look at what the opportunity is that we're offering here. We're offering you right now. We call this a stay-at-home economy. And this opportunity, just like Rene, can eventually change your life and your family's life. And on top of that, if you want to learn more about the opportunity, we have a lot of online tours, online presentations that are happening. Actually, we have more than 30 online presentations happening in different parts of the world. And if you want to invite a couple of your friends to also see the presentation, everyone is invited as well. And we have a lot of our qualified presenters doing the presentation as well. And we have all the system in place. We have the platform, we have the amazing line of products, we have people that will help you. We have trainings every single week. Product, business, everything that you need in this business. It doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't matter where you come from, your educational attainment. What matters is if you want to make a change in your life, then you got to make a decision. And I think that's one important key. Make the decision to improve your life. And thank you so much again for all the speakers that are in this call. Thank you, Rene, for sharing your story from the beginning up until now, how you have turned from an ordinary person to become an extraordinary person because of this wonderful opportunity. So again, thank you so much, everyone. Hope to see you on the next calls that we have. Get back to the person who invited you here and make sure that, as Ronan has said, make sure that you ask those questions because it has to be clarified even before you make a decision. So again, that being said, we'd like to thank each and everyone. What a powerful, amazing call. And of course, with Opulence Global, we have a vision here. And that vision is we go one team, one dream to the billion. Thank you, everyone. God bless. May you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye, everyone.